So a new Nintendo presentation is tomorrow. It's an Indie World presentation. And I know some might be disappointed with this, but like, do you know Spawnwave, the news person that does the news waves, like every morning, Monday through Friday? He knew about this. Like weeks ago, he was saying how there was going to be a big Nintendo announcements in August, right? And he said, don't be disappointed if there's an Indie World presentation. And lo and behold, there's an Indie World presentation. So in terms of big announcements, I'm looking for Halo Infinite to be announced for the Nintendo Switch, launching side by side with the Xbox Series X version, Game Pass on the Switch, shadow dropped, and then of course, Breath of the Wild 2 to be shadow dropped as well. And then to end the show, I'm thinking Knack III to be an exclusive Switch title. No, but actually, in terms of real announcements, I think Silksong and Sports Story release dates, and I did steal this from a friend of mine, sorry. But those are two big titles, two big indie titles, and they're both sequels to very popular Switch games. So I think that would be kind of a no-brainer, and then maybe we could see something from the team that did Untitled Goose Game. Maybe they have a new project, I don't know. Yeah, we could get a couple of surprise announcements too. Like, I'm wondering if there's any indie games, like from Microsoft, or like maybe some new info on like the Cuphead DLC. It's really up in the air, really. I don't know what too much they could talk about besides giving further information on previously announced games. Though, of course, there's probably some, like, maybe a few I'm forgetting, like maybe, I don't know, another Microsoft, or, I don't know, there's some other indie games that could come to the Switch that surprisingly haven't. I think that would be good. I can't really think of any, because they're already all on there. So I think DLC, sequel release dates, and a few announcements would basically make an Indie World presentation. And isn't it just funny how every time there's a Nintendo presentation, like especially with the Treehouse one, right, and with Way Forward doing their thing, and then Nintendo had a backtrack saying it's a third-party thing, people in the chat were still saying, what about Mario and Luigi? It's made by Alpha Dream, not Nintendo. And people are like, oh yes, Mario and Luigi, my favorite non-Nintendo series. It's just funny because you really need to lower your expectations with these. I do think in the August we will have a new announcement because Spawnwave got the Indie World presentation right. And I feel like he's turning out to be a little more of a leaker because, he's working in the retail business. He probably has a lot of connections through YouTube as well. So I think you should really, pay attention to what he says. Because as of late, it's been turning out correct. Like he said, Burnout Paradise, but that was a while back. He knows a lot of the end things, so I don't know. At least with Indie World, he got that right. So I am expecting a big Nintendo announcement sometime in August, because it kind of has to. They don't have any games dated besides Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which I'm very looking forward to. Don't get me wrong, but it's a port of a 7-year-old game with some added content, sure, but where are all the big, where's the big holiday game, right? Because this time last year, we were having, Luigi's Mansion 3, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Zelda, Link's Awakening remake. You had those 3 big titles. They were all brand new and stuff. I don't like Sword and Shield, personally, but, that's some very important titles coming out. So far, we have Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which means nothing in August or September. I do think there's going to be something in September. I don't know if it's going to be huge, but, they gotta announce stuff. So that's why I'm thinking we will have some big announcements soon, and this kind of confirms that to an extent. But definitely don't expect any series that maybe might be too out there, because don't think you're gonna have a big Nintendo announcement, or Nintendo's making a huge new game there, or they're gonna tease a Nintendo Direct at the end of it. No, it's as the name implies, it's an Indie World presentation. So keep your expectations lowered, down to about a 5 hype level, depending on how crazy you are on indie games, because it's going to be an indie presentation. So if you don't like indie games, it's not really nothing for you. But some good announcements. Just really, I think this is going to focus on upcoming info, as I previously said. So just keep that in mind. No Mario and Luigi game. No it's an indie studio. No. It's all about the IPs and the teams that are making it. So if the IP is Mario and Luigi, but the team is indie, it's not going to be featured in there, I don't think. Though, Cadence of Hyrule is an exception there. So I'm wondering if Cadence of Hyrule is going to be like a map for future indie games that could utilize Nintendo IPs. Because maybe maybe we get like a Mario one. I don't know. It's pretty interesting how they were able to like create an entire game around the Zelda IP, but they're an indie studio, and Nintendo approved that. So I'm wondering if we're ever gonna get another one of those in the future. You can do one with Mario, you can do another one with Zelda. There's so much potential, and we even have the Cadence of Hyrule DLC coming out soon, so there's so much room for potential here. So I honestly don't really know what's going to be in this indie world besides just release dates. That's the only thing I can say for sure. There's going to be release dates and new info on upcoming titles. I don't know about new announcements. Maybe something with the Nintendo IP. That would be a great way to end the show. But again, keep your expectations lower.